When we were raising our kids, there was no question. They got their vaccinations on schedule all the time. Today, there is a debate as to whether immunizations are really essential. Could your grandchildren be at risk if they avoid those injections? Dr. Robert Reznicki is here to quiet the controversy. Dr. Reznicki is the Chief Medical Officer for Medical Mutual of Ohio. Welcome back to the show.
Thanks so much.
Well, first, tell us how vaccines actually work.
Vaccinations or immunizations are an incredibly effective preventive strategy. They work by getting the body to produce an immune response to fight those infections off before they even have a chance to take hold. Any provider will tell you that it's cheaper, it's safer, and it's better to treat the infection before it even starts. So it's a much more effective strategy. This has made diseases like polio and diphtheria of practically historical interest in the United States, just because so many people are getting immunized.
But we hear about scary side effects. So, should we really be worried about the immunizations now?
Yeah. Our parents, our grandparents told us there's no free lunch. And so for everything you do, there's always some risk. But the risks associated with these immunizations are very, very small. They might be a little bit of a skin reaction, or they might be a little bit of a fever. But compared to getting the disease, they are much, much safer.
All right, well, that's good to know. But why then are some young parents against immunizations?
I think for one thing, they take pause because there are so many more of them than there used to be. And I think that really is a big factor. But I think the largest factor, Lori, is that they haven't experienced or witnessed the ravages of these diseases the way our parents or grandparents do. Back in the 1950s, there was a terror, a panic because of polio. Kids were getting withering limbs right in front of these parents' eyes. It was horrifying for them. In addition to that, there is the internet, which is a good source of information. Unfortunately, it's a source of misinformation. And then media play on these things, and without knocking the media, it becomes a big deal and a controversy.
Okay, so how do we know who to believe?
I think a good piece of advice comes from the American Academy of Pediatrics. And what they do is that they suggest that you look at who is providing the information and look to see whether or not there are any data to support that. Is it based on sound medical research, or is it just an opinion or coming from a chat room? It's very important that we see how well this is founded. And one of the major sources is the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the American Academy of Pediatrics that we already discussed, and the Immunization Action Coalition is a very good source. The National Network for Immunization Information is very credible in giving us good information that's based upon evidence.
Okay, so there needs to be testing, it needs to be up-to-date information as well?
It needs to be up-to-date information, and it needs to pass the common sense test for you. It needs to
the
be...
smell test.
The smell test. It's very important that you think it makes good sense to you and that it's based upon some good research.
All right, this has been very valuable information. You or your parents may remember when daunting diseases like polio were prevalent. Thankfully, for years now, we've been able to prevent them thanks to the immense assistance of immunizations. If you're still concerned about vaccinations or you have any questions, follow Dr. Reznicki's advice and get the facts from a reliable source. My thanks to Dr. Reznicki for joining us today.
Oh, my pleasure.
Find out more about Medical Mutual of Ohio by visiting their website, www.medmutual.com/2015options, or call 1-866-488-3266. Next.